Willard and Dibs joining Steiny and Guru. It's the crossover on 95.7 The Game, and it is a Monster Monday brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com. And I think the first thing would be start Brock Purdy. You start Brock Purdy.
The first thing is our jerseys we got from Trucker 23.
Yeah.
What do you have?
This is P1 of the show, Trucker 23. Dibs, I gotta rock this.
Wow.
Look at the stitching, Willard.
Look at those.
Yeah, look at
Now,
that.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait, now why is there?
He said he loves the show. We get him
the
to
numbers.
his day.
Why are you number 1 and you're number 7?
Well, I didn't want to bring that
No,
up.
bring it up.
I'm not sure.
No, why did he pick those numbers?
I thought maybe I was his number 1.
But why are you number 7?
I may have thrown 7.
Are you his 7th favorite host at this station? There's only 6 of us.
Somebody better break some news to him.
Let's get Dibs' mic on. Let's get Dibs' mic on.
Oh, yeah.
It's better if we can hear him.
I hear myself.
boy.
There you go.
Spadoni counts. So,
Thank you, Trucker. That make you feel
exactly.
good. What we, to take time to even put this in the mail and even get it. Come on, that's what it's.
We thought it was.
Look at you guys.
We thought someone named Jane from Cedar Grove, New Jersey, sent him, but the company was Jane.
Yeah.
From Cedar Grove.
They look good.
Yeah, no, they look good.
They
You
look
guys going
good.
to be out there Thursday.
We'll be out there.
I'm gonna come say hello.
You better.
I'm going.
You better. Everybody better. We'll be. We'll be right across the street all afternoon, and then we'll be inside, and the Niners are going to be 3-0.
I believe that. I didn't see a Dibs checklist. I was kind of off the grid late yesterday about yesterday's game, but I saw your video. If I were a school teacher, I'd give you an A+. I'm not concerned. We talked about it the last time we were together. If Brock had a bad game, which I don't deem this a bad game, he's afforded, okay, get back on the horse because you've shown so much good. But the overthrows, Dibs, were the first time we've seen him, 3 big ones, and I jotted it down.
Sure.
But I can't say you had a big game when you start the game off with a touchdown drive, big drive at the end of half, so it wasn't your best game. But I ain't in here. I'm proud of myself. Oh, he can't hit the deep ball.
Well,
no, we've taken some calls.
I mean, you said it 7 times and then said I'm not going to bring it up.
No, it's not. It wasn't a resume game for Brock Purdy.
But wasn't a bad game.
It wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
No, he did a lot of good things. Yeah, he missed some deep throws. He was immediately accountable for missing those deep throws. You want him to make those throws. If he is going to miss them, you'd much rather him miss them long. Imagine for a second what would we be saying if all 3 of those had been short? We would be saying
his elbow.
He's got a noodle arm, and did any 3 of them get picked off? Like I know that's what Shanahan talked about after the game was like he never let the Rams come close to touching the ball, and the other quarterback did, and that's why the Niners win. I will say. In listening to you guys earlier, it's not so much about this week, Goo. This is for all the weeks. We got to be careful to remember that the other team is an NFL team. And so this idea of don't just win, you got to look
50-0.
Right.
I hear
you got to look good. This is not the preseason for Pete Carroll's USC, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush Trojans.
Wow.
And if you didn't win 41-3, something's wrong. Like, these are NFL teams. Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl less than 2 years ago. And so it was not their perfect game. But, my God, you take that every time. You take it every time.
Absolutely. And, to me, the 2 big plays are the drive at the end of the half where he goes in from the 1. Obviously, that's a game changer. But here's what I kind of can't stand is – the guy, Williams drops a ball that's right in his hands.
Sure.
Right there.
Well,
and that's the difference in a ball game.
Well, there are drops and there are what that was.
Right.
Which is not a drop.
That was.
It's called a Kadarius is what it's called.
I'm going to give you a 2.
Sorry.
In other words, it's not like, I'm not saying the Rams win that game if he catches it. But they can't win it if that's what happens, because you got to be more precise than that against the Niners.
Mark and I were talking in the green room, and it's 17-17, and they're driving.
Yeah.
The teams exchange punts to start the second half. Now the Rams are on the move, and they're in field goal range, and so if you get the 3 there, instead, it's an interception. The Niners get the 3, so now you're down 3 instead of up 3, and it does change the tenor of the game because, that was a spot where the Rams were trying to keep their foot on the pedal. And yes, the sneak at the end of the first half in order to tie that game up at 17 That was a big call for Kyle. It was an easy call, an obvious call, but he made it, so he gets credit for that, and Brock got it in the end zone, and that turned out to be a big play.
Huge.
And then that first interception was the game changer.
Yeah, no doubt. I will say this, because we played the Bosa sound. I'm not coming down his lane at all, his road at all, because I know you weren't there. But for him to say, I'm getting my footing back. But the bigger takeaway is what we talked about before the season started. I thought the Rams were the Lambs. I didn't know the O-line was going to hold up like they did, but the lack of impact from everybody on the Niners D-line, they won the time of possession, and I felt like Pickett last week, I promise, and I said it to you, left some yards, so there were some erratic throws, but the receivers were open. Are you at all concerned about this secondary? Kudos to Wilkes for bringing the blitz, but I'm thinking maybe better teams look at that first half because I was like, oh, where's the pressure? And there was none, and then he was 300 yards in the air.
Yeah, I am concerned, and I think Wilkes made the adjustment at halftime, but I was talking to Mark before the show about a defense or an offensive coordinator looks at that game, and they see a blueprint for success, which is quick throws. And if the Niners are going to play that far off, then you can just boom, boom, boom. And Puka Nacua, shout out Mark's fantasy team, he had 6 catches in the first half, and
33 points.
Yeah, I mean,
33 points.
What would make you draft him?
No, you picked him up. He picked him up.
The top waiver priority. I got him after last week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of him until last week. Draft him. The Puka Nacua. Yeah. What about this, though, with the whole Niners secondary and the quick passing game? I think in today's NFL, the deal is don't let people get chunk plays. And don't let people go back to even the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Like, how'd they come back? It was chunk plays. The Niners secondary is not letting people get over the top. If you have a quarterback, you called them the Lambs. And I think that many of us, I'm self-included here, we expected the Rams to come back and be last year's Rams. And why would they be? That was the Matt Stafford-less Rams. Is he an A+ in this league? No. But that's Matt Stafford. And the Rams are going to look different with him.
But no Akers or Cup.
Yeah, but Puka.
Well, my goodness.
And no Akers. No Akers was by choice. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
He's done.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, but they did this to him last year, and then he came back and played. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do know that if you actually look at the Niners' schedule this year, you're not facing as far as the elite QBs,
because he's elite. I've always defended Stafford.
There's no Mahomes on the schedule. There's no Allen on the schedule. Burrow's on the schedule, but he's compromised. Hurts and Lamar on the schedule. I do wonder about that when they face more mobility out of the quarterback position. But if you're facing a QB that's really efficient and can nail the 8-yard pass, you deal with that. You deal with that, and I think you deal with it the way they dealt with it. And they held a team to 20 points. Forget the last 3.
How many quarterbacks can be that as accurate as Stafford like that yesterday?
Probably a third of the league.
That's 8, yeah. Or that's 10 guys. 10 to 32.
Not
that's
Dak.
fair.
And so I'm not hating on Dak. He can't throw it like that.
Well,
That
we'll
was
see.
pinpoint precision.
He'll have a chance here in a couple of weeks to do that. And so I do think Mark's right in terms of like the bend but don't break and avoid the chunk plays and all that. But I do want to just say this about Nick Bosa, where he talks in the post game about, I'm starting to feel a little bit better after a couple weeks. This is why you go to training camp. This is why you don't hold out. This is why you get this done. And John Lynch said it takes 3 weeks, in his experience, Hall of Famer, it takes 3 weeks of training camp to get ready to play football. And now Nick is 2 weeks in, and Nick Bosa is not Nick Bosa. Dude, you are nowhere, my friend. You have no sacks. You have 1 pressure. Does he have 1 QB hit? You're a non-factor. You're the highest paid defensive player in football, and you're getting a pass because your team's 2-0. But it's time, my friend. It's time for you to be TJ Watt.
Well, I'm not going to defend him real quick.
Those
the
are my
fact that
words.
we know there's a reason kind of makes it not that big of a deal because we know he missed camp.
It makes it a double big deal because he missed camp. Like, you didn't have to miss camp. And I know that he was negotiating and they were trying to figure out like how much he was going to get, but your job is to be ready for week 1. If I showed up today and, brought my C game until 4:30, that's not going to be okay. my job is to show up at 1:45 and be ready to go when the game begins, and that's his job as well.
But what if you showed up at 4:30 and the ratings from now until 4:30 were still great, right? Then the hammer's not going to fall.
Sure, no, I'm not saying the hammer should fall. I'm saying that as an employer, the employer could come to me and say, "Dude, we're 2-0,
but there was a disagreement."
Sure,
right, and this isn't what you're saying. I feel like absolutely would be something a lot of people were harping on if they had lost either of these games. But they didn't.
Exactly.
But they didn't.
And I'm not trying to harp on it. We were talking about what do you look at from yesterday in terms of like problems, and it's hard to talk about problems when you're 2-0, and we can all rave about Jake Moody. They found a kicker.
McKivitz wasn't a problem.
No, and
he had some help, but still.
Sure.
Yeah, you want to talk about a defensive lineman who didn't register? His name's Aaron Donald.
This is going back years.
Okay, not Joey, not Nick Bosa.
And is the triple team a good enough answer for you two for somebody that's as good as him? Oh, he's getting double and tripled because that's all I've been hearing on X. Oh, nothing to see here. He's getting he used to get double and tripled and still would be Forrest Whitaker in I forget the movie.
Last times at Richmond
Thank you,
High.
my guy. Thank
You're
you.
listening to 95.7 The Game,
Steiny with the
KGMZ
shocker.
FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
I will say this. Have you guys already seen it? The actual analytics of quarterback pressures from the 49ers yesterday. Do you know who
Evan gave it to us.
Do you know who led the team?
Oh, no. We just know the percentage.
Who do you think it was?
Bosa.
Nick Bosa. So I think we got to be careful with the stat of the sack. I know we all want the sacks, but absolutely.
But if it was bad, Mark, I'm not going to give you love for being the leader of bad because they didn't get home a majority of the game.
Did he have?
He had 5.
He had
and the
5
team
QB
as a whole had
pressures,
27 QB pressures yesterday.
Okay.
So, again, is that a stat? Does it? I'm not going to disagree with you guys. I watched the game.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there
why
we
aren't
go.
they getting home?
Right.
But then I also heard you earlier, Steiny. This is a fair point. It's because Matt Stafford's throwing the ball in 2 seconds. What the hell are you supposed to do? Javon Hargrave, one point, I heard you talk with.
I was 31.
He was in the backfield with Matt, and they still didn't get. They didn't get him. They didn't get him. So if the whole idea was just snap, pop, ball gone, well, you're not going to get a QB sack, but you're going to keep you're going to keep the Rams in front of you, which is what they did.
And the Ram the receivers were open though. That's kind of a double whammy.
Right, but again, where? It's kind of like what what some people take away from Brock when it's like, bow, snap, Debo.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyone can complete that. Well, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And there's not any way to stop it, but to do it the way they did it. You keep them in front of you. You don't let the game get out of hand. You win it in the second half. So, again, did they miss out on some style points? I guess.
But that don't go in the standings.
Nah.
But it goes in your notebook.
No, just the overthrows.
File. Guru's got a file on Brock now.
No, everybody has a file. You got a file. Everybody has a file. It's nothing to see here, but if that were to happen the next 3 weeks, we'd be like, something happening
when
here.
your boy Dak gets here, they're going to be 4-0. They're going to be 4-0 when your boy Dak gets here. The 49ers.
Yeah.
And probably the Cowboys too. Probably. They got New England.
Yeah.
We'll see. But they both should be 4-0. And then then let's get it on.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
But they need it more than the Niners because the Niners ended their season in postseason to me. So the psychology behind it is they need that beat the Niners to show to themselves that they can beat them because the Niners could slip up and be like, okay, we'll see you in January.
They get a better division too.
Yeah.
Although maybe the NFC West is a little bit better than we thought.
How does Detroit beat the Chiefs and then lose it? Well, Seattle's a playoff team. Let me stop.
But they weren't last week. They they got blown off the field on their own field by the Rams. So that's the other thing. Yeah. Maybe the Rams are okay.
Maybe the Giants are okay.
Well, they were good for 1 quarter out of 8.
McVay, I told Steiny, that was a big 4th and 2. Why wouldn't you, if you're trying to slay the dragon, even though the Niners didn't get point, I thought just from a macho standpoint, show your team let's go. We've been completing passes.
I was surprised by it. Were you guys surprised by it?
I was shocked.
I always know as a fan.
A little bit, yeah.
When the punter comes out and I'm like, okay, good.
Exactly.
That's when I know you should have gone for it. You should have, I didn't. I was I'm like, please punt. And they did. So I'm with you.
What about the field goal at the end?
Dibs hurts your boy
Dibs and I are
bad.
sitting here talking about this in the other room.
Steiny has some notes, though.
There are 3 reasons,
Wow.
and none of them make sense. There are 3 reasons, and everybody gets to pick what you
Sure.
think went through his mind. So
He's thinking about the tiebreaker, the
So-
eighth
okay.
tiebreaker.
Steiny found
the
that.
eighth tiebreaker.
Okay.
That's a joke.
We just want to get Maher another kick,
Oh yeah, that's
Most likely.
It's a
Or-
win-win-win.
That's most likely.
or did the little buzzer in his back pocket go off, and Johnny Two-Tone from Vegas called and said, "We're going to need a field goal."
Yeah.
We're gonna need a
Why
field
would
goal,
he
Sean.
do that,
All
Dibs?
three,
the three,
all
get
three
the
make
three.
a lot of sense.
With 4 seconds, I told Steiny, I don't think I've ever seen a game end like that.
How many
I don't
times
think so
has
either.
it come down to the 8th tiebreaker, Steiny? Do you know that?
I want to say it happened in the last few years. Believe it or
Where
not,
it came
The
down
eighth?
to
What?
points. To points.
I think so.
To decide.
I mean, I'm guessing now, but I'm hoping.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm in
It's-
there.
okay.
Well,
I
when he
feel,
says
like
I'm
we would,
hoping.
I feel like we would remember that.
We might,
Couple
you know what?
years
Though,
ago?
it's something we could forget about easily.
Oh, some people
and that's
were
what I'm
hurt. I was
banking
one
on.
of them. That I'll never.
I lost a 20.
Even
I
Stafford
lost a
looked
$20
at him
bill
like,
on
dude,
that.
what are you doing? What is
I had him at 7, so it wasn't as
Yeah,
bad.
it's a push, yeah.
I-
I think
but-
I had him at 7 on the podcast on Liquidate All Assets.
Yeah.
We both had him at 7.
It's just
So.
like, I didn't know what to think because I'm like, dude, they could throw it in the end zone, and who knows? Maybe they catch it and it's 30-27.
Catch a Bronco, right? Catch a
That
Bronco
was
tip.
interesting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. You say all 3 of them make sense. I'd say all 3 of them don't make sense.
I think it's a case where he's got a friend who had a large wager
Wow, dude.
plus 7.5, and he knew in the back of his mind, I'm going to do a solid for Johnny the Neck and make sure we get the 3 here.
Johnny the Neck.
Boy,
So he's
I'll
Johnny
tell
you
you
know
or
how many
something.
teams just
Jimmy
throw up a
the,
heave
When do
or
they
even
play?
run the ball?
When do they play again? These teams, do you know offhand?
The 49. I think it's late.
Because when the Rams win 21-13,
oh, yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
And they
Last-
did the time.
last game of the year.
and they're both
last game.
14-3, the
Rams-
49ers
they're
and the
both 14.
Rams.
The Rams are not going to be 14-3.
Well, I'll tell you
Yeah,
what,
they
they're
come
going to
to
be better
Levi's
than I
on-
thought, Mark. I'm watching that. No, seriously,
Well,
I have
look,
them for
again,
dead.
I feel stupid based on
Thinking they were
falling
the-
into. Well, I thought there was maybe something afoot. You know, Ephraim and I had this conversation 6 weeks ago with Caleb Williams being right there in the backyard and all the health issues around Stafford and Kupp. I thought there was potentially a picture that they were trying to create that wasn't really real.
Oh, wow.
And that they maybe were in the process of rebooting their quarterback position. There are a few teams that are good teams, but they reboot the QB position. The Minnesota is one of them. Like they're 0-2 now, but it's not a bad team, but they've sort of decided that Kirk's not their future. So that's interesting.
But they don't have their future behind Kirk. So essentially, he is.
Well, no, not necessarily. Like what I think they're doing is they're getting ready to pay Justin, so they're not going to pay them both.
Oh, well, there's no doubt.
Like,
He's the best receiver in the
You
game.
want to know what conversation started last night that's super fascinating? If I'm the Jets, I call Minnesota right now, and I say, if he's not in your future plans, we'll give you anything you need.
Wow.
Let's go. Because that team.
They got talent.
And it's over if they play with Zach Wilson. The clock is ticking. They will not win games with that man at quarterback. I would do everything I could.
Kirk.
Go get Kirk just for the rest of the year.
But if Minnesota believes they're better than the 0-2 and they could have won that game against Philly,
It's a little early.
Is it at the white flag?
It's a little early.
Well, it depends on what Minnesota wants to do in terms of next year. Because if you want to bring Kirk back, it's going to be $50 million a year. Or the Jets, they'd be happy to bring him in now because I don't believe there's any cap ramifications now that we're into the season. The cap doesn't hit until next year,
Right.
and he'll be gone. And you're going to have Aaron back next year, so that makes more sense. I heard somebody earlier talking about Matt Stafford, like call the Rams and bring in Stafford, but his cap hit was like $70 million on the Rams if they get rid of him now. So I don't think that the Rams would want to part with Matt Stafford. But if you're the Jets right now, you're looking at Stafford or Cousins. I mean, do you want one of these guys off the couch? You can't roll with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, man.
I've said it all along.
This
guy's
we
not
were
any
big
good.
on the dude coming
Thank
out
you.
of BYU.
Thank
Dude. I
you.
know you hate that.
No, I'm trying to beat Mark to the punch.
I
Mark
crushed him
he
last
was
week.
crushing him. I'm like,
And
give the
Tibbs
young
is
man
like,
a chance.
Yeah, what are we
Come
doing?
on.
He didn't have his.
What's wrong with you?
He's-
How can you bury a young player? And then here we are 4 quarters later, and I'm trying to get ahead of it.
You guys can call this
He
front running
stinks.
101, but one of my biggest takeaways yesterday, out of sight, out of mind, Niners have an embarrassment of offensive weapons, but give me another Debo in the league. When he's doing his thing, what he does when it's rolling is second to none. And he was the Niner offense before McCaffrey, but it's just like, damn, dude is a tank, man.
Something lights him up when he plays the Rams, too. I don't know what it is. Debo against the Rams.
Donald saying, I don't know who he is.
Maybe. Oh, I don't know. You know, for a while it was Jalen Ramsey. He liked to poke at Jalen. He's not there anymore. I don't know. But, yeah, he's unique. He is one of one. And, you know, I hope Brandon is okay for Thursday night. It's such a quick turnaround.
I was like, take him out, Dibs, I'm being honest. Every play he's laying.
Oh, my God. I know.
There's 15 more.
I'm like,
look, he's telling you he's going to try, but somebody make the decision for him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they may have to this week because the fact that he got through it, you know, he's going to want to play again. And, yeah, look, it's an NFL game, so you don't want to just assume victory, but it feels like the Niners, you know, you get a mini bye, you get through Thursday, you give Brandon another week off.
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
Did anyone check on Ahkello Weatherspoon after
good.
what happened with McCaffrey?
Yeah.
I mean,
He called him something too.
you get a ball carrier to just, as he's running full speed, extend and plant. He plants you on your back and then gives you a little bit of an earful.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the young man.
He said he was just saying hi.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah.
That's not what the lip reading that I've been able to consort with. Looked like he said other things about female dogs.
He said, I know you used to play for this team, and so does our punter, Mitch.
Ah, right,
That's
right.
what he said. I read his lips.
Does he look like a Mitch?
Yeah, exactly.
Good weekend for the Giants, huh? Are you kidding me, Willard? Is the white for white flag, or are you still two back?
Yeah, no, it's this. They're done.
I couldn't believe
They're
it.
done.
Yeah.
Watch them go win 2 in Arizona.
Hey.
And then I'll be like, wait, hold on, baby. No, what?
It would be Giants.
This is Mark's They're Done Part 5.
Look. No. Here's
The
what
sequel.
Here's what I'll
Part
say.
five,
Here's what I
least.
say. The race is not air quotes over.
No?
But you're not a serious team when you do. It's not even like losses. You go to Colorado and functionally
baseball.
right when you functionally do, like, you can't catch, you can't throw, it's errors, it's blown leads late. You up 8-9-0, and then I come back. I didn't even watch. There's so much football going on. I look at my son and told me, he goes, hey, the Giants are up 8-0. I go, oh, that's cool. And then 3 hours later, I go, hey, what do you think the final score of that game was? He goes, do not tell me they lost that game. I go, what do you think the final score was? I go, it was 11-10. He goes, please tell me they won that game. So, yeah, they won. But still, that's not serious baseball. You got to be serious team.
All right, gents. Well, you have a great show. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. And how about those Niners? Yeah.
2-0.
Yeah.